The retirement system you were told to trust was never built for you. It was built for banks, corporations, and politicians. They promised security if you worked hard and followed the rules. They told you to stash money away, and at 65 you could finally relax. That promise was a lie. Boomers grew up in a world you will never see again. Houses were affordable. On one income, college was cheap enough to pay with a summer job. Jobs came with pensions that guaranteed a paycheck for life, and healthcare didn't bankrupt you. They had a safety net. You have a casino. Their pension checks were guaranteed. Your 401k is a gamble tied to Wall Street's mood swings. They sold you a dream while they cashed in on a reality that no longer exists. The 401k was never meant to replace pensions. It was a tax shelter for executives. Corporations loved it because it shifted risk off their books and onto your shoulders. Boomers told you to max it out and you'd retire rich. But they didn't tell you about the fees, inflation, and crashes that drain it. Dry Social Security was another lie. It was created when life expectancy was barely above retirement age. Most people died before collecting more than a few checks. Now people live decades longer. And the math doesn't work. Boomers got paid while the system was flush. You'll get scraps, if anything at all. And then there's inflation. Boomers could earn 5% interest in a basic savings account. Today, your money rots at 0.nothing, while costs explode. You cannot save your way to retirement when the dollar bleeds value every year. Healthcare is the final dagger. A retired couple today can expect to spend hundreds of thousands on medical bills. That's before rent, groceries, or emergencies. Boomers never planned for that reality, but they still told you everything would be fine. So where does that leave you? Younger generations are staring down retirement with nothing but dust in their accounts. And when you point it out, boomers sneer and say, "You should have worked harder." That's not advice, that's blame. They handed you a broken playbook and then mocked you when it failed. Here's the truth: the system will not save you. Waiting for a retirement miracle is financial suicide. Freedom will never come from a pension that doesn't exist or a government promise that won't be kept. The only way forward is to build income streams that live outside the system. Cash flow from assets, skills, side hustles, or businesses. Money that works while you sleep instead of promises that collapse when you wake up. The boomer retirement lie cost millions their savings, their peace, and their futures. But you don't have to follow them off the cliff. See the lie for what it is and stop waiting for permission to be free. The earlier you build your own system, the sooner you own your future, and the sooner you stop being another casualty of the biggest financial lie ever told. Boomers told you retirement was a golden parachute, but it turns out yours is made of plastic bags from Dollar Tree taped together with hope and coupons. They bought houses with pocket change and a handshake while you need blood samples, tax returns, a DNA test, and still get told you don't qualify. Their mortgage was less than their phone bill. Your rent is more than their annual salary, and you're still apologizing to the landlord for existing. They went to college for the cost of a used lawnmower. You need a loan the size of Texas. And even then, you graduate to find out the only job hiring is dog walker with a master's degree. They got pensions that said, "Here's money for the rest of your life." You got a 401k that says, "Here's money if the market doesn't crash, if inflation doesn't eat it, and if your boss doesn't fire you first." They earned 5% interest in a savings account, while you get 5 cents of pity in a year and a spam email congratulating you on your loyalty. They had Social Security like an all-you-can-eat buffet. You will have Social Security like a stale sandwich from a vending machine that ate your dollar. Healthcare for them was a lollipop after a checkup. Healthcare for you is a bill the size of a car loan just to sit in a waiting room chair that gave you COVID. They told you to work hard and you'd be fine, but hard work today just means 2 jobs, a side hustle, and selling your plasma to cover groceries. They talk about the dignity of labor while you're Googling how to unclog your sink because calling a plumber now requires a GoFundMe. Their retirement dream was a beach condo. Yours is surviving in an RV behind a Walmart with Wi-Fi stolen from Starbucks. Boomers tell you to invest in the market, but forget to mention the market eats first, spits later, and calls it long-term strategy. They say just buy a house, as if Zillow isn't already a graveyard of broken dreams and overpriced sheds. They tell you debt is bad while swiping 6 credit cards to buy a new riding lawnmower they don't even need. They say saving makes you rich, but rich to them meant buying stock in Apple. Rich to you means finding a coupon code that actually works at checkout. Their financial advice is like a VHS tape in a streaming world. It doesn't play anymore, but they keep handing it to you and acting wise. They tell you to plan for the future, but the future now costs triple and comes with no warranty. They bought stocks in the 80s and watched them rocket you, bought stocks in 2021 and watched them nosedive into the ground like a flaming goose. They built wealth while wages kept up with prices. You juggle bills while wages chase prices like a fat kid after a nice cream truck. They call you lazy while you're working longer, harder, and for less security than they ever imagined. Their retirement was a promise, yours is a punchline, and the joke is on you if you keep listening to them. So stop waiting for the system to save you, it won't. The sooner you build your own income streams, the sooner you stop being the punchline and start being the one holding the mic. Boomers promised golden years, but you got aluminum foil years reheating leftovers on a hot plate and praying the power bill clears. They retired at 60 to Florida condos. You will retire at 80 to a fold-out chair on your porch waving at Amazon delivery drones. They bought homes with pocket change. You buy groceries with credit and hope the cashier doesn't notice the decline. They brag about paying for college with summer jobs. You can work 3 summers, 5 side hustles, and still owe the bank your firstborn. They collected pensions like clockwork. You collect rejection emails that say, "Thank you for applying. Please try again." Never. They say just save money, but your savings account grows slower than moss on a gravestone. They had jobs that lasted decades. You have jobs that last until the next quarterly earnings call. They could buy a car with cash, you lease one, and still feel broke before you even drive off the lot. They say healthcare is fine, but they paid $20 in a handshake while you pay $200 just to sit in a waiting room and read magazines from 2009. They tell you debt is evil, but they financed everything with cheap rates and walked away rich while you finance groceries and pray for a coupon. They say the market always goes up, but forget to mention it goes down every time you need the money most. They had Social Security like a fire hose. You will get Social Security like the last drip of a broken faucet. They laugh about inflation like it's funny, but you laugh at inflation because if you don't laugh, you'll cry in the bread aisle. They say retirement is freedom, but your version of freedom will be working until you collapse and hoping the boss sends flowers to your funeral. They say America is the land of opportunity, but the only opportunity you see is a buy one get one coupon on frozen pizza.